Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Marvin Jenkins, and I'm the coordinator at the Women's Business Center at Maryland Capital Enterprises. And we're a nonprofit organization, and we assist entrepreneurs who are either starting a new business or expanding their existing business. We service the Eastern Shore of Maryland, plus Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and Arundel County. And we offer a lot of educational workshops and educational programs, consulting, counseling, as well as business loan assistance. We have two offices, one in Baltimore, Maryland, and another in Salisbury. And I'll put all my contact information. You'll be getting this is being recorded, and I'll send you a link to the recording, and I'll put all my contact information so that you'll be able to get up with me if you have any questions. And so anyway, with that, you all probably already know Rosalind, since she did the first part of this Mbe.Dbe.Sbe and SBA workshop. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rosalind and let her get started.
All right. Thank you very much, Marvin. Hello, Sharon. Hello, Crystal, and anyone else that has joined us. I want to thank you again today for joining this webinar for Maryland's Department of Transportation Business Certifications. I'm Rosalind Davis. I am the president and CEO of Rhoda Business Solutions, an award-winning consulting firm specializing in business operations and transformation, workforce development, operational support services, and solutions. We are a certified woman, veteran, minority-owned business. We're also Mbe.Dbe.Sbe certified, Mbe.Dbe.Sbe, and SBE, and we're located in the Washington, D.C. metro area. I also want to thank the Maryland Capital Enterprise Women Business Center, Lisa and Marvin, for always providing this training platform so that we can provide this training platform to you so that you can get your certifications through Mbe.Dbe.Sbe. And I want to say a special thank you to Crystal Bailey. She is the owner of Creative Chaos Studio for allowing me to use some of her application screenshots to develop today's presentation, but to also update my part one presentation as well. I'm going to leave some time at the end so that Crystal can introduce herself, tell us about Creative Chaos Studio, and then also tell us about her experience when she went through her application. Tell us any pitfalls, any lessons learned, anything that can assist you in moving forward with your own application. And then my disclaimer. The screenshots that are going to be used in this presentation are actual screen captures from Mbe.Dbe.Sbe certification online application. But the views and opinions expressed today are my views, and they are in no way the views and opinions of the government or any other entity. Now, if you haven't done so already, you might want to, in the top right corner of your Zoom screen, switch to the standard view so that you can enhance your visibility of the application screenshots. And if anytime you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand. Marvin will call on you, or put your question in the chat and Marvin will see that. I will take periodic pauses during this presentation, but you do not have to wait to the end to ask your questions. So I have already posted the link to Mbe.Dbe.Sbe's application in the chat. Here's today's agenda. We already did part one, which was done last week. So now we're going to focus on part two of the application process. So just to recap, part one had sections 1 through 4, and I'm only going to do a brief recap. I also want to remind you again that there is no cost to apply for Mbe.Dbe.Sbe certifications. It's totally free. You'll hear from Crystal at the end what her opinion is about the cost for paying someone to apply for certification. Another thing I want to remind you is that this is a 4-step process. So there's the application submission, and then there's the investigation to include an on-site or a virtual visit and an interview. And then they're going to do an evaluation to see if you meet the eligibility requirements. And then the last and final step is determination, where you will get a decision letter, whether you have been approved or denied for your certification. This whole process is now taking about 10 months. So keep that in mind when you do apply. that there is a long wait time to get applications decisions rendered. We're also going to talk about the ACDBE certification if you want to do airport concessions. We're going to go through the required documents that you need here. There's mandatory, but then there's also if applicable, and we'll go through those documents in details. And then we're going to conclude with any takeaways, conclusions, and then we'll also hear from Crystal. So this is what your dashboard would look like from if you have completed what we went through in section 1 and part 1 last week. This is just a visual to show you that you have answered all those questions. And so your dashboard should look green. If there's still any red, that's just a reminder that you still need to go back and complete a section before you can proceed with submitting your application. So just a quick recap. Section 1, basic, it was just your name, phone, email address. Most of that information was pre-populated from when you started your application. And then section 1 prior is where you determine which certification you were applying for. And if you recall, they recommend, they being MDOT, that you apply for the uniform certification application so that you can apply for multiple at one time because they all require pretty much the same documentation. And then section 2 was your business profile. This is where you included your North American Industry Classification Codes, which are NAICS codes. This is how the government buys their products and services. You also entered your number and type of employees and your gross business receipts. And then section 2, relationships, it was focusing on your ownership in other businesses or subsidiaries. Section 3, owner information. It asks what year did you own and what percentage of the business, how did you acquire the business, how much did you invest? And this is also talking about your personal net worth. Section 4, officers and board of directors. Again, you could list yourself on both positions if that is the case. Section 4, management personnel, it asks about the duties and responsibilities. They wanted to make sure that your resume reflected everything that you said you are responsible for your company. And then inventory, business equipment and vehicles, office space. And if you recall equipment, they also wanted to know if you had any laptops, desktops, printers, business cell phones, those types of things you have to list as equipment. And then your financials, your banking information, and then finishing up with licenses and contracts of section 4. They're looking for plumbers and electricians, so trade licenses, and then also your 3 largest contracts. The good thing about this is if you don't have all the information or you can't answer the questions at that time, you can complete this in any order, so it's not sequential. So Marvin, before I get into airport concession, I want to just pause right there and see if there's any questions from part 1.
I don't have anybody, nobody's submitted a question yet. Now, do you have, what are you showing on your screen?
You can't see it?
No.
No,
Oh, well then,
I can't see it either. I was just about to ask.
oh, then that's, you know why? Because I forgot to share. So let's do that.
I didn't know. I thought you were just doing a recap. I wasn't sure.
Okay, let's see. Can you see right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's do kind of a pause and start over a little bit. So I apologize for that. So here's the agenda again. And then here's what I just covered about sections 1 through 4 of the application and how your dashboard will turn green once you complete all those sections. If it's red, that just visual that says you have a section to still complete before you can submit your application. All right, so now that brings us to airport concession, the ACDBE. So I'll pause right here, and see if there's any questions.
Nobody submitted any yet, unless somebody wants to jump in and ask one.
All right. So, excuse me. In this section, it'll be at the end of section 1 through 4, and it'll ask for airport concession. This may not apply, but there are 5 mandatory questions that you do have to answer for this particular certification. So here is a sample list of the questions. You just kind of respond accordingly, and then hit the submit button to move on to the next section.
Rosalind,
Gathering.
can you
Go
make
ahead.
the slide a little bigger? I can't, I think it's not in, I don't think it's in presentation mode. So it's really, at least for me, it's hard for me to see the slides.
So Sharon, in your top right corner, you might want to switch your view.
Okay.
To the standard view.
Yeah, it's on standard view.
And you still can't.
Yes, you're widening it up now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can see all the and all.
Okay. Thank you for that. Is that better, Sharon?
Yes.
It's a little better. The words are really,
Yeah, it's a little better.
yeah, we can see all of the next slide and all that on the
It's
side.
showing the part of the next slide too. I think that's the.
It's in the
Okay.
trainer mode. It's showing your notes and everything. There you go. That's
There
the
we go.
There we
presentation.
go.
Let's do this. How was that?
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Fine now.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for the feedback. I really do appreciate that. So for airport concession, this is if you're going to apply for the airport concession certification. So these are the 5 mandatory questions that you have to answer for that particular certification. So now we're going to get into the document list for mandatory. So here is the list. The first one is the certification application. So this is a 17, it's a 17-page checklist. And for whatever reason, it's a PDF document. However, it's not fillable. So what you have to do is print the 17-page document, handwrite your answers and responses, and then upload that into your application. Doesn't make sense, but that is the requirement. They're asking for your NAICS codes, which is your North American Industry Classification codes, to be listed there on your certification application as well. So this is just one thing that they called out. Apparently people tend to miss that section. And then the next is your declaration of eligibility. This no longer needs to be notarized, but you need to certify if you're in one of those protected classes and fill out that declaration of eligibility. Your documented proof of contribution. They want to know if you contributed funds to start your business, if there was a loan to start your business, if someone else contribute funds to start your business. They just want that documented proof of how you started your business. And here they give you some examples of how you can document that proof. And then the resumes. They want the resumes of all owners who are at least part of that 50% ownership. If you are the only owner of your company, then it's just your resume. If you recall from part 1, there are specific language that they want to see in your resume. So make sure that you include that. You can always go back to that section at the earlier part of your application to see what that is. And it's basically asking you, do you make the day-to-day decisions? Are you responsible for operations, financials, and things like that? Make sure that specific language is in your resume. Proof of citizenship. So you can use a passport, permanent resident card, but you also have to upload a government issue photo ID, such as a driver's license. And as you can see over here to the right, the status is right now, it says not attached. Once you attach those documents, it will turn green and say that it has been attached. Continue with mandatory documents, your personal net worth. So this is your personal financial network, not financial network for the business. This is for all 51% ownership. All supporting documents should be in PDF format, and that goes for every document that you upload. So if you use a Excel spreadsheet for your financials, you would have to PDF that before you upload it. They do not accept any other type of documents to be uploaded into their system. And we're going to go through that personal financial network statement in more detail. Your personal federal tax returns, the past 3 years, this has to be, you have to print the one document that has your electronic signature, because they want a wet signature. And I will show you that when we get a little further in the briefing. And then your business federal tax returns, 5 years. If you have not been in business for the past 5 years, simply create a Word document that has your application number, it has your name, company name, it has your date and your signature, and say, this doesn't apply because we've only been in business 2 years. But you will have to do that for each year that it doesn't apply. You can't just say years 2 through 5 don't apply. It has to be for each year, because they're looking for 5 separate attachments. And then year-end financial statements, they're asking for the past 3 years. Now, here's where it's confusing, because someone just went through their application, and even though it says 3 years of year-end financials, they're really looking for 3 months of your bank statements. So keep that in mind. This is something that they need to update, but as of right now, they're really looking for 3 months of your bank statements, because they uploaded financial statements, and that's not what the reviewers were looking for. And then your bank signature authorization card, or your letter. And so again, this needs to be on the letterhead from the bank, and it basically states who's authorized to sign for checks and make financial decisions for the company. List of equipment. I'm going to turn my volume up a little bit because someone is cutting their grass. So list of equipment, again, they want not just bread trucks that may be bearing your company name, but they want now your laptops, your computers, your printers, fax machines, business cell phones. They want those small details now listed for your equipment. And then your official articles of organization. This will be when you submitted your business documents to the state of Maryland to start your company. You also had to submit your articles of organization, or they sent that back to you with a state official. And that is what they're looking for their official articles of organization. Now, this is the certification application. This is that 17-page document, and this is just a screenshot of page 1. But again, it's a PDF, but it's not a fillable PDF. So you will need to handwrite all this information. And then once you have completed that and signed it, then you would just upload that back into the system. Your declaration of eligibility. If you are one of those protected classes, you would put your name here, you would check the box as applicable, and then you would put your signature and date down at the bottom, and then upload this document back into their portal. Proof of contributions. Here's just some examples that are acceptable to show your proof of contribution. So your state business registration receipt where you paid the $300, your good standing certificate. It could be a domain receipt where you have now a business email or domain name for your website. It could be a county seat if you use QuickBooks or some other bookkeeping system. And it could be also your EIN letter, which is your employer identity letter that you would get from the IRS. So these are just some examples to show proof of contribution. Now, if you want to use your proof of good standing, which later on you will still have to upload your proof of good standing with the Maryland Department of Transportation, here's how you can find that particular document. If you've been in business for some time, you know it is due no later than the 15th of every year. There is a cost to get copies. And although it says that it's $20 for each copy, but there's an expedited fee of additional $20. There's no way around it. You will get the document immediately for download once you pay that money. So even though it says expedited, you're still just paying that fee, even though it's an immediate download once you pay to get the certificate. And this is just an example of what the certificate looks like. You're looking for that company is at the time of the certificate is in good standing to transact business. Continuing with more mandatory documents, the resumes for all your owners, officers of the firm, and key personnel. Remember, you need to make sure there's key words that you put into your resume. You need to show that your top line shows that you are the owner, the president, the CEO, the founder, or whatever your title is for the business. And then after that, you can list all your past experience. For your North American industry classification codes, if you list, for instance, that you do janitorial supplies, they're looking somewhere in your resume to show that you have that type of experience. So make sure that that matches, that the NAICS codes that you use for your business, they can cross-reference that in your resume. Mandatory documents, proof of citizenship. So here's some examples. You can use your passport, your birth certificate, but you also have to upload a government photo ID. So that could be driver's license, it could be a student ID card that's issued by the government, permanent resident cards, or naturalization certificate. Now, your personal financial network, again, this is for your personal net worth, not the business. This is the form. Make sure that you are using the form that says 5/31/2027 in the top right corner, because that is the latest version of it. You would put the date that you're completing this form. You would just go through and fill it out as applicable, but they tell you which worksheet to complete. Once you complete that worksheet, you'll come back and enter your answer, your dollar figures right here. If there's a worksheet that doesn't apply, such as ownership and other businesses, you would just put not applicable on the worksheet. Here, you would just put 0. Now, by this being a PDF, it is not set up to automatically calculate the final numbers. So you just want to verify that you have added correctly your total assets, and again, your total liabilities, and then calculate your net worth. So let's go through a couple of things that tend to be questionable. Let's see, amounts owed to you. So if someone has borrowed money from you of a significant value, then you would need to enter that. If you had any assets transferred to you in the past couple of years, that could be maybe a vehicle, that could be something of value to where it will change your net worth. You need to make sure that you enter that information. Moving over to liabilities, mortgages. So you will list your primary residence if that is applicable, but they also want you to enter, upload the mortgage statement as well. That's not something they asked for in the past, but they're asking for it right now, the mortgage statement. I'm going to pause right there, Marvin, and see if there's any questions on the personal financial network.
So far, no questions.
Okay. So business and personal taxes. So again, most of us these days, we do an e-file. I've scratched that out because they now want you to print this particular page in whatever form applies to you, and make sure that you actually sign and date it with a wet signature. And then insert that document back into your tax returns, and that's what you will upload into the portal. So financial statements, again, they ask for 3 years of year-end financial statements. They're actually looking for 3 months of bank statements. So make sure you have that available. Your bank authorization, again, make sure it has your bank name, has the bank name on the letterhead, your name, the business name, and then the person who's authorized to sign. Another mandatory item is equipment. So you're gonna indicate your firm's equipment and vehicle. It says make or model. That's for a vehicle. So if you have a personal vehicle that you are also using for your business, you would enter your make and model here. The value, they actually want you to look at a site such as Kelley Blue Book to get the current value. And that's the value would enter here, or whatever site you're going to use to get the value of your vehicle. But you're also going to have to upload that as proof as well. So that is a change from previous submissions. And the equipment and vehicles, it will be an attachment, because this right now is just asking for asking you for the vehicle. And then office space, if you are renting or leasing an office space, check the box as applicable and enter that information. And then storage space, for instance, if you have a warehouse where you are storing your supplies or something, you would enter it there. If that is your home address, such as if maybe you're storing that in your garage, or you may be storing that in your basement, then you would enter that information for the address. Articles of organization. This is when you submit your business to Maryland to start the business. You should have this articles of organization, and it basically has a name and principal, place of business, what's the purpose, who runs the business, how do you manage your books, your records, your tax returns, and then if something should happen where you want to dissolve your business or liquidate, what is the procedures for that? So it's just that simple. I suggest, if you don't have one, to just Google it and find a sample somewhere. But this is, again, my opinion. You do not have to pay LegalZoom or someone else to create this document for you. There's plenty of samples online. Now, that was the conclusion of the mandatory documents. So all those documents must be uploaded in some type of form or fashion. If you, for instance, don't have 5 years of business tax returns, you still need to upload something that says it doesn't apply to you, and you need to do that for each year. So Marvin, I will pause right there before we get into the documents that, if they apply.
No. Yeah, Sharon does have a question.
Okay.
Right. So with regards to the tax returns, the business tax returns, so you said that if you don't have any, you prepare a Word document, and you note, you have to have like 5 of those documents. Do they need to be what's the word I'm looking for? Do we need to have an like affidavit on each of those, or just a signature or anything, so that it's somewhat of a legitimate document? What's the criteria for those documents if you don't have? Because I don't have.
Okay, so the answer, Sharon, is your signature is proof enough that says that you do not have those years of business tax returns. But you need to do it, for instance, 2024, 2023, 22, and so on and so forth. But you have to have one document for each year, and just put your application number, your business name, and says, this doesn't apply because my business started in 2025, so we do not have 2024 taxes. And just do the same for 23, and just sign and date each one of those letters and upload it into the portal.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. So this is what the section on if applicable looks like. So as you can see right now, there's no documents attached because you're just getting started. And I want to show you this part over here that I've put in red. It says mark as not applicable. For instance, if proof of Native American group membership or enrollment does not apply to you, you would just put a check in that box. If you don't have any additional business owned, put a check in that box. So you would just kind of go down the line and check the boxes that don't apply to you, because what's going to happen is it's going to take those documents as being something that you should respond and upload. And now it's going to say not applicable. So no, you do not have to attach it, and therefore they will not be looking for it. But if you don't check that box, then they're going to be looking for you to attach it over here to the right. So most of these are kind of self-explanatory, socio-economic disadvantage, personal narrative. So if you are filled out the declaration of eligibility for one of the protective classes, then you're also going to have to fill out this narrative as well. When I say fill out, you'll have to complete a narrative to describe in detail what they're asking for here. If you don't have any additional businesses owned, then you put not applicable. Your proof of good standing, although it was one of the documents that you can use for your proof of contribution, even though it's down here for if applicable, but if you're not in good standing with the state of Maryland and you're applying for certification, you're probably going to get denied get that certification, because you have to be in good standing. Quarterly state unemployment tax wage report. If you don't have any employees at this time and you have not filed for any state unemployment reports, then that would be not applicable. If you already have a DBE or SBE certification, then you would upload those. If not, it's not applicable. Professional licenses and permits. Again, those are like trade permits, your plumbers, your electricians, engineers, things like that. And then agreements, any executed or agreements that you may have. You may have a loan agreement with someone or any other type of written agreement, and they have to be unredacted. So there's certain information that you can't just white out, but what's acceptable is like social security numbers. Those can be redacted. And then any home state MBE certifications as well. Now, your corporate capability statement and or your business plan. But I highly recommend it. You says if you are a business less than 1 year old, you're encouraged but not required to submit these information. So take that with a grain of salt. My opinion is less is better. So if that doesn't apply to you, click that checkbox. If you have been in business for more than 1 year, then either upload a capability statement or a business plan as applicable. And then the state issue vehicles, titles, again, they're looking for the titles or registration, along with that Kelley Blue Book value as well. And then your insurance to go with it. Job contracts or invoices. So they're looking for the top 3 job contracts that you may have. If it doesn't apply, make sure you check that box. And then trust agreements, if it applies, upload it. If it doesn't, check the box that says not apply. I don't see very many people adding any additional sort of supporting documentation. One that could be entered here is that list of equipment that's showing your computer, your laptop, print or anything, that could be something that could be in this additional supporting documentation. So at the bottom here, what I have put in red, it says attach each document above or check the box to indicate that is not applicable to your business. Then you're going to click this lock-in button. So this button right here, once you check everything that doesn't apply, when you click this, I'm going to go back one. When you click that box over here where it says not attached, it's now going to turn to not applicable and it will be green. So then that's another visual to show you that you have less documents to upload because they just don't apply and you don't even have to focus on it. Any questions?
No, nobody's got any.
Okay. So just a little bit more detail about some of those if applicable documents. Most of these may or may not apply to people, but answer appropriately and so that you can get through the if applicable document section. Your contracts, licenses and permits, these are all required questions that you answered in sections 1 through 4. So now it's asking for proof of that information. If you said that you had licenses or you had contracts, now it's asking for the proof for you to upload that supporting documentation. Now, once you have completed that mandatory and if applicable section, you'll see this document list has now turned to green, saying that you have completed all your mandatory or if applicable documents. You're now able to sign it and submit. So some key takeaways. Again, I want to stress that applying for the certification is free. It's time consuming, but it is free for you to apply for the Mbe.Dbe.Sbe certification. If you're going to go for multiple certifications, use the uniform certification application to apply for multiple certifications at once. It is online. I put the link in the chat to the website to get you started. It is a 4-step review process where you first would submit your application. They'll do a review. They'll also do an on-site or in-person, on-site or virtual visit. They'll check your eligibility and then they will render a decision. So the required information, all those questions that were in red when you go through your application, those are mandatory questions. They're also going to look for documents to be uploaded to support your answers in those. And last week during part 1, we talked about your personal net worth statement. Section 4, which is at the top for part 1, is asked for majority owner information. If you go back to that section that I said, hey, just put a dollar figure there, because once you calculate your personal net worth and that turns out to be, let's say, $100, you want to make sure that you go back to that section 4, majority owner, and put that $100, because those two numbers need to match. If they don't, that will hold up your application. I also suggest that you keep a copy of your completed application somewhere on your desktop, perhaps with your folder where you have put all your documentation to upload it. And then one final thing that they do offer is a 30-minute cursory review for free. So I highly recommend that you take advantage of that so that they will look through your application. They're mainly focusing on your documentation, your mandatory documents, and they'll let you know if there's any discrepancy so that you can fix it before they start their official review. Now, if anyone needs assistance after these 2 workshops, you can contact the Maryland Capital Enterprise Women Business Center for further assistance. Now, with that, I want to thank you for your attention, but I also want to bring on Crystal to talk about her experience, because Crystal and I sat down on Friday and we went through her application from start to finish. And so, Crystal, if you can come off mute, tell us first who you are, what your company is, and then tell us about your experience going through your application.
No. The application was very easy to get through. I highly recommend anyone who's thinking about paying somebody to do it to change your mind. Uh, it the hardest part is gathering all of the documents, which you have to do anyway if you're going to pay somebody to do it. So just gather up the documents and submit them. That's pretty much it. That's the application. That's the post. The only thing I would say is on the financial page with all of your information stuff on it, the personal net worth statement. I would put zeros on everything that's not applicable, because when I was going through and filling it out, a lot of the sections it entered in the total from my what area was it? It was somewhere where I entered in the total for worksheet number 4, and it populated that same total for all of the other worksheets for some reason, and there wasn't really any way to change it. I guess they put that formula in there to equal up to the same thing. I'm not sure why, but other than that, very easy to do, very easy to gather up all of the documents and just submit them, upload them, and then you just sit back and wait.
So Crystal and I met on Friday. We met for about 3 hours, but it did not really take us 3 hours. Part of that was me getting to know Crystal, Crystal getting to know me, she telling me about her business, what she's trying to accomplish. So some of that 3 hours was spent getting to know one another. And then we went through her application. And as we were going through her application, she was actually answering the questions in real time. She was also uploading documents in real time. So she may have to take time to go find them on her computer. But by the time we got finished, Crystal probably had about 80% of her application completed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost finished. I still have to update my resume, which I haven't done since 2018. And I have to get my last tax documents from my CPA, and then we're ready to go.
That's great, Crystal. Very good. Congratulations. Do anybody have any questions for Crystal?
Thank you so much, Rosalind, for helping me out with this. It took away some of the fear that I had of getting it done.
You're very welcome. And thank you. Because again, as I stated at the beginning, some of the screenshots are real time, and those were from Crystal's application. So thank you. Anybody have questions for Crystal? All right.
Okay.
Back over to you, Marvin.
All right, well, if nobody has any questions for Rosalind or Crystal. I'd like to thank everybody for, attending both one or both sessions. And you will be getting a link to the recording of this, and you probably already got the first session recording. So, and you'll have my contact information. So if you need to reach out to me, you'll have all that information. So with that, unless anybody has any questions, we'll say that's it for today. And thank you, Rosalind, for all you do for us. And we appreciate your time. And thank everybody for attending.
Thanks, Marvin. Everyone have a great week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Bye, Marvin. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.